Alright, okay, welcome to this lesson with Teacher Kamanga. In our lessons today, chemistry, we are going to look at the topic extraction of metals. Now, to help us with our discussion, we're going to look at this question which was extracted from Science Paper 2, GCE 2021. We're looking at question number 7 in section B. Okay, so the question reads, during the extraction of zinc, the ore is first loaded in air as illustrated by the equation below. So during the extraction of zinc, the ore is loaded in air as illustrated by the equation below. So the equation we're talking about, it is this equation that we're talking about. Okay, so for simple understanding, when we're talking about an ore, we're just talking about a mineral that contains a metal which is valuable to be mined. Okay, a mineral that contains a metal which is valuable to be mined, that is an ore. Okay, so what we need to understand is that whenever we're talking about an ore, we are looking at a metal that contains a lot of impurities that must be removed for it to be purified. Okay, so now basically when we're talking about zinc, or zinc has quite probably two ores that we can commonly find this zinc in. So we have what we call the zinc carbonate. Okay, we have zinc carbonate. The chemical symbol, it is this one, chemical formula. So we need to understand that is the chemical formula for zinc carbonate. So the zinc carbonate, its common name is known as calamine. Okay, calamine, that is the chemical name for the zinc carbonate. Okay, so that is the first ore that we can probably talk about. All right, so since I've mentioned that there are basically two ores of zinc, the second one, it is known as zinc sulfide. Okay, so we have zinc sulfide. Okay, so this zinc sulfide, its chemical symbol is the one that we are seeing in the equation there. Okay, that is the zinc sulfide, and also its common name is known as the zinc blende. Okay, like that. So we have the zinc blende. So we need to understand that these two ores are the most resources where the zinc can be mined. All right. So now what we also need to understand is that in our preamble of the question, it is saying the zinc ore is loaded in air. So what we need to understand is that the air is a mixture of gases. Now, if we're talking about a substance reacting with air, what we probably need to understand, we're just talking about reacting with the oxygen. So this ore is going to react with oxygen as indicated again in our equation like that. All right. So we are seeing the oxygen there in the equation showing the reaction is taking place. So now with when the zinc ore react with oxygen, what is going to be produced? We're going to have zinc oxide plus sulfur dioxide. All right. So the sulfur dioxide, this one is a pollutant, therefore should not be allowed to escape to the atmosphere because it is going to cause air pollution. So we need to understand, because mining comes with a lot of effects at the end of the day. All right. Then we have the zinc oxide that we have. This zinc oxide will go further in the reaction to react with coke. Okay, to react with coke. So now when we're talking about coke, what should come into our mind is carbon. Okay, so carbon is the one that should come into our mind when we're talking about coke. So what we're trying to say is that the carbon is the one that is going to reduce this zinc oxide to the zinc that is needed so that it can go further for purification through the process of electrolysis. So we need to understand that. All right. So I hope that one will give you an idea on how we're going to answer our question in this case. So the first question, it's saying give a common name of the ore in the equation above. So we have talked about two ores, but we are basically interested to know the name of the ore which is present in this case. So we have said give a common name. So remember I said the common name for zinc sulfide, it is called zinc blende. Okay, so it is zinc blende. So this is going to be our answer in this case. So zinc blende is going to be our answer. That is a common name that we need to put here. Okay, let me just try to write it so that you can be able to see it. Okay, all right, zinc blende, like that. Okay, now we come to the next one. We're saying name the substance which can be used to reduce zinc oxide Okay, the substance that can be used to reduce zinc oxide, it is coke. Okay, coke. Remember I said when we're talking about coke, we're talking about carbon. Okay, so we're talking about carbon. That is the coke that we're talking about. Okay, so I hope we understand. I've already explained why the carbon will come in, because it needs to reduce the zinc oxide to zinc. All right. We come to C. We're saying suggest a reason why sulfur dioxide should not be allowed to escape into the atmosphere. So remember I said this sulfur dioxide, it can cause pollution when it is allowed to escape to the atmosphere. So the reason why sulfur dioxide should not be allowed to escape to the atmosphere, because it's going to cause air pollution, because it can cause air pollution. Okay, it can cause air pollution. We know a lot of people that suffers for air pollution. There are a lot of other diseases that can be brought because of that. So like I've said, mining comes with a lot of other effects. There are a lot of scars that have been left on the ground because of the same mining. So these are just some of the effects that we can talk about. All right, the last question, the D part, it is saying the D part is saying state one use of zinc. State one use of zinc. So what we need to understand is that number one, zinc is used in galvanizing of iron. So galvanizing of iron. Galvanizing iron. The reason as why we're saying this one is used in galvanizing iron, we know that zinc has that ability to resist lasting. So in most cases, it is used to galvanize iron objects so that it can be prevented from lasting. So we need to understand that's why we're saying that. Also, another one, for the sake of knowing a lot, another use of zinc is that zinc is also used to make alloys. An example is brass, so that is also another example, to make alloys. Okay, all right. So in making alloys, zinc is also used. Okay, so this is how we could have answered this question that is coming from the extraction of zinc. What is important is that we need to understand how chemical formulas can be brought about. Okay, this equation, we need to master it, because some of the times we can be asked to construct the equation and also be able to mention what mostly other substance their function. Like for example, we talked about the coke. We need to know why the coke must be able to be involved. Okay, so it's very, very important. Other methods that we need also to know for the extraction, we need to know methods like the extraction of iron, the extraction of aluminium, and the extraction of copper. So basically just try to follow this series of lessons so that you should be able to understand more on the extraction of those metals. This has been Teacher Kamanga with you. Thank you.